What's up, y'all? We are back for the challenge episode 8. This was a good episode. A very good episode. I'm trying to push this mic back. A very good episode. Because last week's was boring to me. I think it was boring to me if I remember correctly. But y'all didn't show any love to the video, so I guess it was. But please, thumbs up the video, y'all. Please drop your comments down below. Show some love. Share the video. Do what you got to do. This was a good episode. I'm Team Cory. I'm Team Cory and I'm Team Rachel the rest of the season, honestly. Like, them two, I'm all about the underdogs. I'm all about the ones that's popping that shit and actually doing it. But, yeah, let's get into this episode. We're not going to waste no time. Let's go. All right, so we come back to the house from the elimination. Rachel and Derrick is kind of settling in that they are the final two for their era. It's only the two of them. They're the only male and woman left, so they know essentially they're going to have to fight until either the game changes or they get sent home. But Rachel knows she's one of the queens of the challenge. She ain't tripping. Like, she knows she really is one of them girls. Like, even though she's older, she still is one of the strongest females. They're probably the strongest one if you want to ask me. Derrick knows that he's injured, but he's going to push himself to his limit. Derrick is the type of person that plays this game. He will push himself until his leg is off. And he probably will still do it even if the leg was off. But we get a scene of Jenny. She's pretty much telling Michelle how pissed off she is about constantly hearing her name to be a target. Like, nobody else is trying to look out for her. Obviously, they wouldn't look out for you, but I see why she's mad. I'd be pissed off too. But Casey's boring ass is talking about Jenny. She takes the game personally because she doesn't talk game and has no relationships with people and says she needs to start making connections to be safe. And I'm like, why would she not take it personal? Like, y'all ain't doing nothing but throwing her in every single chance that you get. And I would be pissed off too. Like, you are using my name to get yourself out of it. Which I can't be mad at them for that because you playing the game. I would do it too. But I would be mad too if I was on the other end. Like, who the fuck wouldn't be? But then her boring ass then says, I gotta realize I'm on a game with a bunch of rookies. Jenny has won. She's won. You might have won, but she's won as well. But relax. And she did it without any help. Like, Jenny was not connected in war. I think she won. What season did she win? Total Madness, I think. Jenny ain't never had no alliances when she came into the game. She won by her own merit. So there's a difference between her and you. But we got Cory and Nehemiah. I'm rooting for these two. Y'all already know I'm naturally always going to root for Nia, even if she disappoints me. But Cory, that's number one. And Rachel is number one for me right now for the women. But Cory and Nehemiah, they're talking about how they might have to wipe out Era 1. Cory feels that Era 3 and Era 2 are locked in because Derrick and Avery's connection, and Avery is a target with him currently. Nehemiah feels like it's either them or it's either of them. And if Era 1 wins, it is what it is. Like, they're going to have to go in at that point. But Cory says that it should be good because I don't know what the fuck I wrote, but we're going to skip past it. Nehemiah ends up talking about the connections that he has, which is Nia and Cory. Two strong connections, two good connections to have. I hope that, and he hopes that their eras can work together because Era 1 and 4 are essentially, they're going to work together, and he hopes that they kind of put themselves against each other to kind of cancel each other out. But Cory wants to work with Era 2, obviously, because Avery has a connection on Era 2 with Derrick Cancun. And then Cory obviously has that connection with Nehemiah, who's his number one in the game. We get a scene of Laurel and Bananas. They're talking. Ryan comes in and moves his shit, obviously, because him and Bananas don't fuck with each other. Him and Laurel basically don't fuck with each other. And Bananas talking about something, you leaving? And he's like, yeah, I'm leaving. Like, bye. And he's stating that he can't stand Bananas and Laurel. That's why he is leaving. But Bananas is sitting there joking around talking about he gonna move out of that room too and move in there with him just to kind of like tease him or whatever. But Laurel's talking about how her and Ryan's friendship, we get like a little foreshadow of what's coming in the future. But she talks about how her and Ryan's friendship has kind of like dwindled, and it took a turn when Nicole had fell out with Laurel on All Stars 4, and Ryan had blamed Laurel supposedly for Nicole blowing his phone up. Y'all are too old to be having these type of issues. But we get Aviv. Aviv is sitting there working her social game with Michelle and Devin. We get a scene also of Theo and Derrick talking. Like, Derrick is trying to find a way to make deals, keep his name out of the elimination, but it's going to be at the point where he and Rachel have to win to not be in the elimination, honestly. But Derrick is stating that it's either Rachel and him or Theo and Jenny that's going to go in, because he's pretty much stating like Cory and Avery, they ain't going to vote them in, and the other team's targets, which I can't remember, I think it was Derrick and Cara, he just don't see either one of them teams losing. So basically it's going to be between us two. Theo ends up taking the deal that he had given them too. So we get to the mission. The mission and the elimination both were great. Y'all know I love a physical elimination. Y'all know I love anything physical. So I won. I won today. But today's mission was kind of like the theme. Well, it was very similar to the Cutthroat mission where they was. Y'all remember back in the day when they was hitting them with them shields, bloody noses, and everything? That's what this was. It's called Battle of Honor. They enter the ring with their arrows. They're going to do it, obviously, in gender. So the males will battle against each other and the females will battle against each other. But the objective is to be the last era standing. It's just that simple. They have to use these shields to send their opponents into the water. Once they're in the water, you're out. And they're doing it in those rounds, and it's a timed event that'll last 20 minutes. Like I said, the team with the most remaining will win. So the boys start off. Era 4 and 1 are seemingly trying to work together going into this game. And like I said, this would be my type of challenge. I love this type of shit. I'd be having a ball going. I would have been just like Cory. The way Cory was acting in here, it would have been me. But they immediately start jumping on Theo. Smart, because that nigga's big and you got to use as much as you can. Cory was having a ball bashing his head in. Cory was throwing his back into the bushes. But he knocked Derrick over. Bananas was the first one out. Derrick C was next. Cory was over there wearing Derrick out. Wearing him out. Rightfully so. It's a competition. Like, if you want to be injured, go sit down. But if you want to be injured and claim that you tough, you can catch these hands too. You can catch this energy. And that's what he was doing. Like, I don't understand why people on Twitter was acting like Cory was doing too much. It's called an elimination. It's called a physical challenge. You're going to win. You're trying to win. But Nehemiah ends up knocking Derrick off. Nehemiah was in there knocking them shits too. But he knocks Derrick and Jordan off at the same time. Kylan knocks Ryan off. Devin is pretty much suggesting at this point, because it's a good amount of them still there. And he's pretty much trying to get Cory to make a deal with Theo to give him the win to ensure that they're safe. Theo ain't going for that shit, obviously, because he had just made that deal with with Derrick. And you can't make two promises with two people, essentially. So Cory then immediately goes charging at Theo. I hollered because the way he pretty much denied it, and Cory said, okay, bet. Boom, and went charging at him. And the difference between Theo and Cory is actually like, you could tell Cory fights and can fight and would fight. Theo is just big. Like, Theo, there's a difference between like just being big and just being big for nothing. Like, Cory is big. Cory played football. Like, you know Cory played football. That's obvious. Theo ran track. All you doing is running. That's all you doing is running. This man right here, I forget what I swear he played on the defense. He might have been a cornerback. That's essentially what he does. Like, Cory, this is what he lives for, and that's what he was over there doing. And he charged at Theo. Theo's now getting jumped again, and he ends up getting disqualified because he was staying on the ground, did not stand up. Cory and Nehemiah, they was passing. They was taking turns bashing Josh's head in, and I was screaming, laughing, but their time got elapsed. So they finished. Cory then says, y'all gonna stop playing with me like I'm stupid. Fuck out of here with that shit. Theo then says, like, I already gave my word. So Cory's pissed off about that, but Cory was like, good, it's gonna bite you in the ass in the end. Like, it is what it is. Cory didn't realize that they already made that deal. But Cory said that he wants to get physical. Derrick then calls Cory pretty much saying like, talk about not being able to finish a game, Cory. Cory says, I gave you mercy. I don't want to hear that shit. Like, I felt bad for you. If I wanted to throw your ass in that water, I'd have threw you in that water. Derrick is sitting there saying, well, I'll fuck you up right now. Do something now, bitch. And then throws his jacket as Cory's walking away. That was some punk shit. You wait to throw that when he walks away. And Derrick, he was sparing you. Because you literally are injured. What would Cory look like coming over there and beating you up because you want to press him for a moment? Like, Derrick, I respect you in this game, but that was not the move, because that was punk shit. But Derrick talking about the only thing I'm seeing is disrespect because you jump in my face. Did you not just press him? You pressed him that made him get in your face. He was like, I was trying to spare you. I felt bad for you. But we playing a game. You can't get mad at him for being physical, playing a physical game. That's the whole point of the game. You think he wants to keep you there? No. But it's the girls' turn. Rachel ready to come in there and get everybody's head. Nia, I was so proud of her until she knocked herself off balance because she went straight for the girl I wanted her to go for, which was Casey. And she knocked her so hard she fell in the water. Nia's the first girl out. Rachel was knocking the fuck out of Avery. That is foreshadow for the rest. But Jenny ended up finishing her off. Avery got sent out in the water. Tori now realizes it's just her for her era. Like, Nia and Avery just went down. So she the only era 3. So she's running around trying to hide. Cara sees her running around trying to hang on the edge, trying to not be seen. So Tori ends up starts making eyes at Laurel and Rachel. Tori then goes and knocks Cara down because she sees, like, she out here trying to find a way to sneak get me. So Cara then is saying that she just needs Laurel's help, and Laurel ends up going over there to help her, and Laurel knocked the fuck out of Tori. But Aviv was in there standing there taking hits. I was like, okay, Aviv she's impressive. For her to be, I ain't gonna say old, but she old with the rest of these girls, but she was in there hanging tough. But after 2 rounds, Era 1, they had the least amount of players, obviously, which was such a disadvantage because they lost. They lost, and that sucked. But they're going straight into the elimination in Era 4-1, which means that Theo and Jenny are the targets that are safe. Derrick is talking about how after beating Mark and Horacio, beating Horacio is questionable, still to this day. He feels that he can beat anybody. Which, if anybody can, it would be Derrick. I'm gonna give him that because he's had so many obstacles stacked against him where he should not win, and he ends up finding a way to always win. So, but Derrick's Cancun and Cara and Cory and Avery, they have to go plead to Theo and Jenny to hope to not go in against those two. So they get back to the house. Derrick and Ryan, they're pretty much wanting Avery to be safe, but they don't have that power to do so. So it's essentially up to Theo and Jenny. But Avery and Cory, they're in the room with their team, with their era, strategizing on what plan they want to do to pitch to Theo and Jenny to hopefully get them to bite to not put them in. So she's basically telling him, like, tell Jenny, I know you threw me in, and I just want to give you the opportunity to kind of extend this olive branch. Like, you do me a solid, I'll do you a solid. And we can actually do that because we actually would win. So Derrick is also trying to Devin is also trying to help pitch and like kind of carve. They working together to try and figure out a game plan for those two to go in there and lay it down. So we get to the deliberation, and Avery, she starts it off stating the same thing essentially. Basically saying like era 3 and 4, we were agreeing to look out for each other, and this would be the way that you can kind of repair that bridge and get us back on track with working together, because obviously the other two teams are going to work together. Derrick took a bitch way out. He said he ain't throwing nobody under the bus, but it's a numbers game. Everybody's connected on everybody's side, but I'm not going to make any promises because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. Not really saying much. Like, he could have just sat there and be quiet. But Avery, she looking for Derrick to repay her because obviously she saved him when she had the opportunity to do so. He didn't really stick his neck out for her. Cara, she ends up stating that it sucks that this table is what it is because essentially they're all underdogs. And she's pretty much telling Jenny, like, it's obvious out of all the women on your team, you're the one that I would look out for. So you do me a solid, I'll do you a solid. And if anybody can give her a solid, it would be Cara Maria. But Cory, he then starts speaking. He asked to speak. He said, I've learned through my 11 seasons being on this show, if you want to make it far, you should be working with strong players. The reason why you want to work with strong players is because they can win the dailies. That I agree with and I disagree with at the same time. Me, I would want to work with strong players just for a certain period of time, but I want to be the only strong player there. I'd much rather play up against weak people to make it easier for me. But, I mean, I see there's pros and cons with both. Because what Cory said was true. Like, if you have somebody that's there, that's strong and can win, if you don't win, they can win, which could help you out because they won't say your name. That's basically what he stated. But he says, I look at myself as a strong player. I've got a strong track record. I said, your track record in eliminations is strong. But dailies, I don't think Cory does too bad in dailies, but he doesn't do it exceptionally well. But he definitely does good in eliminations. So he ends up saying, too, to Jenny, you already threw me in once. I'm nervous that I could go in again. And if I do, I'm forced to take it as personal because you already done did it before. So if you do it again, you're basically looking like you're just targeting me. So I have no choice but to take it personal. But Derrick ends up saying Rachel's his teammate. He feels like her best shot, honestly, to win is up against Avery, which he ain't lying because her up against Cara Maria that's a battle, boy. That's a battle. Avery is the easiest shot. But Cory says, so basically what you're saying is me and you in that sand. Is that what you want? And Derrick's talking about something. If you can't beat a dude with if you can't beat a 3-legged dog, then you don't deserve to be here. That is true. but you clearly don't want to be here because you going up against somebody. It's like you underestimating Cory in something that could possibly be physical is stupid. It's stupid. If it's something mental, okay, I get you. But Derrick ain't that bright. He's probably not as shit. They both slow, but I don't know who's more ditzy between the two of them. But physicality, both of them are scrappy. Derrick is definitely scrappy. I'm not going to underestimate him, but physically, Cory would beat him if you ask me. If you ask me, especially now considering the fact that Derrick is weaker because he's injured. But Derrick is thinking he's doing something, saying, I'll play the I don't give a fuck game. I said, okay, well, clearly you don't give a fuck about going home. But Derrick ends up saying that you came after me and had help on that in that mud pit in the mission. That's what he's talking about. Like Cory didn't need help to do that. He was, like he said, I was sparing you. If he really wanted to throw you in that water, he would have. But Cory said, if you want to go up against me, just say that shit. Like, stop beating around the bush. Just say it. Rachel is pretty much trying to hype up Derrick in the confessional, saying that he's the GOAT of the challenge. Lie again, Rachel. Lie again. He might be one of the best in the eliminations, but he is not the GOAT of anything on the show. And she pretty much said Cory has no chance. I'm like, okay. But Cory said he wouldn't light on him, and if they in that sand, it's going to be a different story. After the deliberation, loved it. No, was it this part? No, it's later on. Cory said that he ain't like that Rachel couldn't even state the fact that she wanted Avery, and Derrick pretty much did her dirty work. Avery praises Cory for his points that he had made, which he did make some good points. And Cory's pretty much saying, like, if you're going to keep saying my name, I'm coming for you. And Nia had the line of the night for me. She said, Cold World. Shout out to J. Cole. But Era 4, they're deliberating. This is a scene that Theo and Jenny has set up. In the moment, I was like, this ain't really going to do nothing. But later on, it actually worked. It was kind of genius. But Theo's targeting Era 3. And he wants to weaken the stronger team, which is Era 3, which is smart. Michelle, she's not happy about it, obviously, because she's fucking with Devin. So, like, that's not going to work for her. And she pretty much says, like, Theo and Cara are connected for Era 2. And like I said, she's just mad because Devin's on Era 3. And if they're weakening his team, they're weakening him. But Michelle says, like, when Era 3 wins, she feels like there's a shot that they can, that they, as in Era 4, can have a say in who goes in. Whereas with the other eras, they could likely be the ones going in. Kylan also wants to ride with Era 3, so he agrees with Michelle, obviously, because him and Nia are fucking around. So Kylan says that Casey and Josh also have a relationship with Cory where they could actually band together with Michelle and him to outnumber the rest of the team. Smart, it is true, but you dealing with a bitch and you dealing with a couch. Like, let's be for real. But Theo ends up saying that he and Jenny had already decided what they were going to do. They just threw this fake meeting to kind of get everybody involved so that when they go back and deliver the news, they can kind of throw it on the team itself. This was the team consensus, like, we got outnumbered. That's just what it is, and that's what happened. Smart. Very smart. Very smart. I was thinking it was stupid in the moment, but it actually played in what they wanted it to do. But they go walk into Era 3's room and lets them know that it's a 5-2 vote. They weren't convincing with how they did it, but it played out to vote Avery and Cory in. I don't like how they're I don't know if they have to do this, but I don't like how they're telling them before the elimination. Like, I feel like they should wait until the elimination. Make the ones that are at risk, the targets, make them all dress out to go in the elimination, and don't tell them until it's time to actually go into the elimination. But they go and tell Cory, and he said, take that bullshit somewhere else. Like, take that shit somewhere else. He was doing the math in his head, and he's like, these numbers weren't there. Like, I had the numbers, but they weren't there, and he immediately knew it was Casey and Josh not sticking their neck out for him, not looking out for him. And he's like, I'm a competitor. Obviously, I'm going to take that shit personally, as you should. But we get a scene of Michelle and Devin, and Michelle goes in there and lets Devin know that they was out here trying to put this fake team consensus out here when that's not what it was. They already had their mind made up. So Devin now knows what was going on. But he ends up saying Josh is a flip-flopper. And if there's some united front, if they're not a united front, they're going to get steamrolled. Josh is a flip-flopper because Josh is a bitch. Like, how many times have I said that this season? But he's now bitching to Cory because Josh always wants to play friends. But then whenever he doesn't do anything to help his friends, he then wants to try and cry to him. Cory was doing how I want Cory to do. Cory, that's why I'm always root for Cory, because Cory ain't going to stand for that bullshit. Get out my face with that. Cory said, put yourself in my shoes. The first thing you said is, Cory, are you okay? He said, man, go on somewhere with that fake bullshit. I don't want to hear it. I said, go up. So he said, I hate that fake ass shit. I hate it too. That would piss me off too. He said, don't take me as an idiot when you sitting here trying to act like you ain't had a chance to vote to help me out and you didn't do it. Josh is sitting there talking about how he ain't being fake. Talking about something, who was your friend? Cory said, not you. I said, exactly. But Josh ends up saying that you think you think I could sway Theo, who you was attacking the whole challenge. Cory said it was 5-2-2. Like, you could have changed that, and which he could have. Josh sucks everywhere else but social game. He has a social game. He's well connected to everybody in that house. For some reason, they all like him. I don't know why, but they do. He's always well connected socially, which is why he makes it far in the game. But the reason why he never gets to the end is because he can't compete. He's got the social aspect. He just don't have the aspect that you need to win the game. But of course, I ain't got time to hear that bullshit. Josh is talking about, let me speak. I said, no, nigga, go on somewhere. But Josh is sitting there talking about how you was literally targeting our team. Cory said me and Theo was just going at it. Like, we playing a game. I'm not trying to help him sit here and stay because he ain't on my team. And he ain't going to do the same for me. So why the fuck would we just sit up here and look at each other? But Josh then asked Theo, says, if I went in there going to bat for Cory, would I have changed your mind? Theo was sitting there looking dumbfounded, either bitching out or just trying to let his plan work the way it was supposed to work, which I'm going to choose to believe that way. But Cory says maybe it would have changed. He was like, Josh, you were supposed to that's what you specialize in, social awareness. I said, Cory, you didn't mean that. You meant he's socially connected, because social awareness, he don't have that. But Josh ends up saying, who do you think was riding for you, Kylan? Kylan come walking up in and said, why is my name involved in this shit? Like, what are you talking about? But Josh then says, I was just saying, like, who did he think would vote for him? You? Kylan backs up Cory's claim. He's like, if Josh, if you had something, like, if you would have said something, if anybody on our team has the power to sway it, it's you. You had the opportunity to shift the majority to save Cory, and you just chose to not do it. That's on you, because you're not a real friend. That's essentially what he was saying. Now, Tori, everybody's saying all this, and Tori is now questioning Josh and Casey because they ain't looking out for her team either. Like, she would be looking out for his team, but they ain't looking out for hers. So now she's looking at them funny. But we get to the elimination. Cory versus Derrick, Avery versus Rachel. Cory was like, Derrick done called me out. He said that he wanted to go against me. He disrespected me in that challenge, throwing that life jacket at me when I wasn't looking. Derrick said, that's funny. You're crying about a life jacket tapping you. Come on, dude. Derrick, you pissed me off because you made me agree with Jordan. He said, do it to their face. Like, be a man. I said, I agree. Like, that punk shit, throwing shit behind somebody's back, punk shit. He said, this is what you want, and you got it. Exactly, Jordan. But the game that they're playing is Fate of the Gladiators. I love it because, if you don't know, I box. I love to box. I love watching boxing. So this was right here for me. They have boxing gloves, a blindfold. So there's two positions. You're a striker or an evader. The striker is blindfolded, and you have the gloves, and you're trying to hit these targets off of your opponent, who is trying to, and they can see you. So they trying to get away from you. They got all these targets on them. It's kind of like they make a lot of noise, kind of like how like Christmas bells and whatever. So that's what's going to alert the striker to try and figure out where you are by hearing those bells. So your objective is to pop and burst all them targets as fast as you can. And then they'll switch. So the ones that was the evaders will then be the strikers and vice versa and do the same thing. So whoever wins and knocks the most off the fastest will win. Avery and Rachel. Rachel said, I'm blindfolded. I started off blindfolded. She said, I'm a black belt in karate. I wasn't shocked. I'm like, Rachel gonna get in here and give it. But Avery, I was like, Avery got them hands. If you remember Portland, she was giving it to Nia too. Nia and her both was going hand for hand. Hand for hand. So I was like, Avery got them hands too. Avery, where them hands go? Where them hands go? But Rachel was striking. Avery was the evader the first time. Rachel got the punching the shit out of Avery. She was hitting her with face shots, boy. She was knocking her shit in. I was like, why are you not guarding your face? Like, I was like, Avery, guard your face. Like, she was hitting her shit. Like, uppercuts, overhand right. She was knocking her shit in. But it was Avery's turn. Rachel was actually, and that's the thing too, Avery was not moving away. Rachel was moving away when it was her turn. Because Avery was trying to get Rachel, but Rachel was running like a kid. And Avery couldn't get her at one point, but she finally landed, knocked a couple of them off. Rachel was smart to try and protect her head because she knew she had a lot more targets on her head, because if she got up there, she would have got more points. They finished. Cory and Derrick. This one was close. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Derrick was trying to knock Cory out the game. Cory said, I'm going to take this personal. Derrick is quick, but this is what he wanted, and you got what you wanted. Cory gets up in there and starts hitting him with them body shots. Like, body shots. Boom, boom. Like, straight duking his shit. Derrick is sitting there ducking and twisting, but Cory was on that ass, pouncing. I was like, okay. They switch. Derrick started hopping around on that one leg. He know Cory is doing some shit. He started knocking something off of Cory. Cory's now knowing he got to move around a little bit more because Derrick is moving. Like, Derrick is moving. He might be on one leg, but he moving. He was putting up a good fight. Derrick really was. They don't know who won because they all was knocking them off. It's like red powder everywhere. But they hugged it out at the end. They ended it like men. They both gave each other respects. I respected that. We get the scores. Avery hit all her targets for 6. But Rachel hit every last one of her targets, so she won. Good for Rachel. Cory and Derrick both hit every last one of their targets. But Cory was faster. Cory won. I was very happy with those results. That's what I wanted. Cory gets to choose one woman from Era 4 to target. Casey's boring ass finally decides to volunteer. Rachel chooses Kylan. For Era 3, Devin finally volunteers. Tori ended up volunteering. Cory asked for volunteers for Era 2. Bananas, Laura looked like she might have been getting ready to volunteer, but Bananas sitting there telling her not to, but Cory ends up choosing her anyways. Brian ends up finally volunteering for Rachel, obviously, because they're cool. And Rachel is the sole competitor for Era 1. So they're talking about solo mission. I'm like, is she going to do the mission by herself? But if anybody can do it, it's her. But very good episode. Very good episode. We are 8 episodes in, and y'all know I'm thugging it through because Grant don't normally be here by episode 8. So I'm doing it. Zuda, man, I already know you're going to be in the comments like, yeah, he here. But yeah, thumbs up the video, y'all. Please do that. Please drop a comment down below. Please subscribe if you are new. If you watch Love is Blind, go check out my videos as well. I just dropped one today. Check out the channel. I got so much shit going on. Your boy been working, but I will see y'all next week for the challenge. Peace.